Hey guys, what's going on? James here, and in this video today, I am talking to Tampa Bay Buccaneers cornerback and member of the practice squad, Mr. Don Gardner. Don, how you doing today, man?
Doing pretty good, pretty good. How about yourself?
I'm doing good, man. As we said before, Merry Christmas to you and your family. Hope you guys had an excellent holiday. To anybody watching this video, Merry Christmas to you guys as well. Don, did you have yourself a good holiday?
Yes, it was pretty good to get to chill with the friends and their families and stuff like that. How was yours?
It was good. It was good. As I said, spent time with the family, got to cover the game, which was a fun time indeed. So all in all, it's been good, man. It's been a nice time. Been a little bit colder here in Florida, as we talked about, as you said, as we talked about off camera, hey, a little bit different here for Florida, right?
Most definitely.
Yeah, man, for sure. But Don, again, hey, I want to thank you for taking time to talk to me today. It really does mean a lot. And, let's just go ahead and dive right in. So you spent 5 years over at South Dakota State. You played college football over there, had a really great career. Went to an FCS championship game, put up a lot of great numbers. And coming out of South Dakota State, you probably had a lot of different options as to where you could go after the draft, where you would be able to play. But you decided on the Bucs. So what made you want to come to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers? What were some of those deciding factors that made you say, hey, I want to come to Florida and I want to see what I can do here with the Bucs?
Just overall, just looking at how the defense stood up and the numbers as well on the defensive side of the ball to give myself a fair chance to, come in and compete. And what Tarbos does on the defense was something that I like. So we ultimately decided on the Bucs.
Mm-hmm. I got you. And we will talk about Todd Bowles and the coaching staff here in a little bit, but I do want to talk about this. So going from college into the NFL, right? There's so many different types of comparisons that are made, between analysts and scouts. People talk about, this cornerback reminds me of, Richard Sherman or Darrelle Revis or anything along those lines. For you personally, are there any NFL cornerbacks either currently or in the past, whatever it may be, that you look to mold your game after, in your own opinion?
No one specifically that I wanted to mold my game after. It's kind of like you seeing some guys do certain things, you kind of nitpick with that. Mm-hmm. So there's a handful of guys, so I can't just name one. So it's a few guys that I kind of molded my game after.
Okay, I gotcha. So, taking a look at that too, like some of those guys specifically, could you list off a couple of them? I know you said obviously not one specific guy, but who are some of those guys that you look at and say, oh, I'll take a little piece of this guy's game and apply it to what I do, or a piece of this other guy's game and apply it to what I do? Any names that kind of come to mind?
Revis, of course.
Right.
I like Brent Grimes growing up. I like Derwin James, even though he's a safety and things like that. So it's a little bit from everywhere, honestly.
Yeah, I got you, man. Hey, Brent Grimes, former Tampa Bay Buccaneer, man. So there you go.
Yeah.
Following in the footsteps. So I always like to ask guys this, going from college to the NFL, obviously there's a lot of motivators, right? What would you say were some of your biggest motivators for your playing career to play, obviously all throughout college, 5 years at college, then make it to the NFL and continue your career now in your rookie season at a professional level? What would be some of those biggest motivators that keep you going on that path?
Just proving that I belong, just waiting on your opportunity to get the call and stuff like that, and just to prove to your teammates and the coaches and those who are watching the game that, you belong on the same level as the other guys.
Yeah, I gotcha. So would you say it's more so about that idea of, just proving that you can hang, right? Proving that you can hang on all levels playing football, right?
Yep.
Would you say coming from a school, nothing to say about South Dakota State, but, a little bit of a smaller school, right? Was that fair to say?
Yeah, say that.
Yeah. So would you say coming from South Dakota State going into the NFL that it does give you more motivation to say hey man, I'm here. I'm going to do this. I'm going to play at a high level, at a professional level?
Most definitely.
I gotcha. So you went through the offseason, right? As you said, you came to the Buccaneers. You were interested in Todd Bowles. You were interested in the coaching staff. You competed all throughout training camp, rookie mini camp, preseason workouts, everything, right? And you played well in the preseason. You got your first ever interception in the NFL. You picked off Titans quarterback Logan Woodside during the preseason. What was that feeling like? You're first coming to the NFL, you're practicing, you're getting your first snaps in the preseason, special teams, defense, everything in between. What was that feeling like, and what differences did you notice between the competition and the speed of playing in the NFL versus college?
The feeling was surreal. You grow up watching a game, and then, like, you're finally playing in it, and then, like, after the game and stuff like that, you watch on ESPN, you kind of, like, see yourself, like, well, that's kind of crazy. I was just playing an NFL game. But ultimately, the biggest difference to me was, like, the speed. The speed of the game was, like, pretty fast at first, and then, like, after getting adjusted to it, kind of, like, slows down for you after a while. So the speed was definitely the biggest change.
How was that feeling, by the way, of seeing, your highlights on an ESPN or obviously like a news show or anything along those lines? Like you said, pretty surreal feeling.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy to see. Like, man, I just made that play. I'm on, like, showing it on ESPN. So it was pretty neat to see.
Did that reinforce that motivating factor of, like, oh man, I'm here?
Yeah, you could say that, but then again, like, every day you go on the field, you got to have that mindset that, like, I'm here, I'm going to show my worth today. So, it all just fell into place for me that night.
Mm-hmm. And whenever you talk about the speed of the game, what kind of goes into that? Like, obviously the speed of the players is one thing, but is it just like the speed, like, environment wise as well, that kind of plays into that?
Yeah, and, like, pre-snap alignment and things like that, like, you being 8 yards off instead of 9, like, the quarterback is going to see that. He's going to adjust to that based off your look pre-snap and things like that. So it all is, like, a lot of pre-snap movement and all that speeds up the game.
I gotcha. So that's okay. So there's definitely a lot more things that, like, the difference between college and, those differences from college to the NFL. It's a lot of, like, very small stuff. Like you said, 1 yard can be a difference in some of those situations. So was that like an overwhelming feeling type at first? Or, like you said, like, obviously now you've adjusted to it, but was that kind of tough to adjust to that at first?
Yeah, because you're trying to learn a whole new playbook and things like that. So at first it was overwhelming, but then after you get a grips of it, it came a little easier for you.
Mm-hmm. And, one thing that can obviously help is, veterans, right? And there are a good amount of veterans in this secondary, right? In this locker room for the Bucs, both at cornerback and at safety. They can help with those processes, right, of learning the playbook or getting adjusted to the NFL at that speed. So, is there anybody, what guys have you been able to learn from in that locker room, maybe as a mentor, maybe just in general so far in your rookie season?
To be honest with you, everybody in that secondary has taught me something, so I can't just say one person because, like, honestly, every day you in there in the mix with, like, all the veterans, so every time you come out the field, they give you feedback and things like that, so it was an awesome experience to, like, play with all those guys and things like that, so they all, like, dished out little help and stuff for me here and there. But, like, as in the corner room, the ones who I've kind of, like, asked the most questions would have to be, honestly, it's like the vet three there. So you got Carlton, Sean, and Dean. So those three.
Mm-hmm. I gotcha. And what things have they been able to teach you throughout your rookie season so far that have really, maybe things that you might not have known, or just even, like, small different types of things? Like, what have been some of your bigger takeaways from those vets that you have been able to really absorb throughout this rookie season so far?
A little technique adjustments that they put me on to. So trying to do new things that'll help my game. So I'll say that.
I gotcha. Now, currently, Don, you are on the practice squad. Obviously, you went your way there after the preseason, and you've been there throughout the entirety of this season so far up to this point. How has that experience been so far, being a member of the practice squad?
It's been a pretty good experience. Every day you get to come in and compete and go against the best every day. So, like, you get an opportunity to go against the Mike Evans, the Chris Godwins, the Julio Jones. We got a bunch of other great receivers as well on the team. So it's a great experience, to, like, compete every day against those guys and just work on your craft.
Yeah, and, one thing I want to talk about, too, is because, what are obviously the responsibilities of a practice squad player throughout the season? Because, of course, you're obviously there in practice every day. You're going up against those guys. Iron sharpens iron. And that is fantastic, right? But are there any extra responsibilities for a practice squad guy? I know there are some situations where you have to mimic the play of certain players. Is that something you have to do throughout your time as a practice squad member? Or maybe just besides that, what other responsibilities are there?
Honestly, you give a look for the starting offense, so you gotta show what the opponent will be doing. So you gotta mimic plays in that aspect, and then kind of like go to the defense some days, and you running with the twos on defense. So it's like got to mimic the opponent's defense, and then you got to stay on top of your defense as well, because you never know if your number's going to get called. So you got to mix and match, So it's a pretty good adjustment for you, but it's pretty good though.
So you've essentially got to learn multiple defenses throughout the year. Obviously some in smaller capacities than others, but that's basically it. You have to mimic other defenses then in those situations?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay, I gotcha. And how has that been kind of having to do that? Has that been something that you've found enjoyable or difficult or anything along those lines?
Yeah, it's pretty enjoyable because, you get to play different calls and things like that. But it's pretty much ultimately it's just football at the end of the day, so it's not that difficult. Right,
I gotcha. Have you found that doing that helps with your overall, obviously, knowledge of the game and growth and things along those lines?
Yeah, because you get to see how certain teams tweak certain coverages and stuff like that, so it's pretty cool to see.
I gotcha. Now, as you said, you go up against some of the best receivers in the NFL today, and in some cases in NFL history every day at practice, right? Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Julio Jones, Russell Gage, the list can go on and on and on.
Exactly.
Who would you say has been the toughest or most enjoyable matchup for you during your rookie season so far?
The toughest. The toughest. Let's see. I'm gonna say Chris Godwin.
Now, why is that?
Because Chris, he does a lot of motions and stuff like that. So he always gets you lined. You start on the left and then that motion you to the right, and in a rep or whatever. And he got a lot of options in his routes and stuff like that. So it's hard to pick your leverage with him. You go to the outside shade, he's going in. You go to the inside shade, he's going out. Stuff like that. He got a lot of adjustments. So it's always a challenge going against Chris. Also with Mike and Julio as well.
Yeah, no, I understand that completely. As I said, you're essentially going to...
You got a handful every day, but it's ultimately a great experience, to just go out there and compete every day.
Yeah, would you say those guys are probably your 3-year most enjoyable matchups as well?
Yeah. Because, man, I grew up watching these guys, and I'm going against them. So it's always, I'm just a competitor, so I like competing. So
yeah. Absolutely. Now, I know we talked about this earlier in the interview here, but you're working with the coaching staff with Todd Bowles as the head coach, a guy who specializes pretty much in developing defensive backs. That one in part of your decision to come to the Buccaneers, right? You have Casey Rogers, you have Larry Foote as the co-defensive coordinators, Keith Armstrong is the special teams guy, Kevin Ross, he's the cornerbacks coach. How's been that experience working with this coaching staff so far?
It's been great, honestly, just to nitpick with them from time to time about certain things on the defense. So ultimately, it's been great. I can't complain at all.
I gotcha. And obviously with that, have you noticed too where definitely in terms of working with defensive backs with Bowles specifically as a head coach and how he runs the defense. I know obviously you said that was a big part of it. How's it been working in that defensive scheme so far?
I love it, honestly. I love it because it's a lot of tweaks every week. So you can be doing different things every week. So I love it, honestly.
Mm-hmm. I gotcha. So look, man, hey, you got your first NFL snaps in a regular season game against the Ravens, right? I think it was on Thursday Night Football, I believe. You played 14 snaps on special teams, which congratulations to that, by the way. That was awesome to see.
Appreciate it.
Of course. Now, I want to ask you, we've already talked about some surreal moments, right? First off, just coming into the NFL, then playing in some preseason games, then you're going up against couple of Hall of Fame caliber wide receivers, no big deal, right? But now you actually got the chance to play in a regular season game. How was that experience playing on special teams and getting your first ever regular season snaps in an NFL game?
that was pretty amazing because that was like prime time. You know, Thursday night football. There's nothing on TV but football on Thursday, so everybody got the chance to see me running down, just competing and stuff like that. So it was amazing. You know, even though I didn't tell many people that I was playing, they still caught me on TV, like, hey, that's Don, stuff like that. So it was pretty cool.
And did you notice a big difference in terms of, I guess, maybe the atmosphere, or maybe the pressure between, of course, you know, like you said, your first NFL game's primetime football, it's Thursday night football versus, you know, Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens. Did you notice a big difference and a big, you know, feel between that game that you played in the regular season and your preseason games where you participated in?
Yeah, you definitely can tell the difference because, like, you know, this game, this is prime time for one, and it's the, you know, the best on the best and stuff like that. You know, in the preseason, you got guys who are trying to get their foot in the door and stuff like that. And then Thursday night, you know, primetime game, you got everybody who's established and, you know, going neck and neck with each other. So it was a pretty big difference, you know, good on good and stuff like that. But ultimately, it was great. You know, outside of the fact that we didn't win. Other than that, it's a pretty great experience.
I got you. Yeah, no, that is understandable, man. I don't blame you for that at all. But you know, again, look, man, there's a couple of weeks left in the season. Your rookie year is coming to an end. What would you say has been some of the most important things that you've learned throughout this rookie season of yours so far?
The most important thing that I've learned?
Mm-hmm.
Would you say on the field or off the field? Like, which one?
Both. I think both could apply in this.
Honestly, I've been, like, taught to, like, control what you can control, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Don't try to look too far ahead and things like that. That's been the main aspect of my, like, rookie season is just, like, controlling what I can control, just going out there every day and giving it my all with no regrets. So.
Mm-hmm. And that's definitely that's something that applies to both on the field and off the field as well, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, I gotcha. Now, obviously, with the season, you know, coming to an end here, the rookie season, only a couple of weeks left. You know, I always ask guys this whenever I talk to them. What, you know, happens in your career moving forward? You know, be it staying with the Bucs. It sounds like you absolutely love it here, so I imagine you'd want to stay here, right?
Mm-hmm. Most definitely.
For sure. So, moving forward with your career after this rookie season, in the following years with the Bucs, what should Bucs fans expect to see from Don Gardner moving forward with his career?
Someone's going to come in and compete every day, you know? Just waiting on my moment, and when it comes, you know, got to make the best of that opportunity. So, just, you know, stay patient, you know?
Yeah, absolutely, man. I couldn't have put it better myself, man. I couldn't have put it better myself. Well, Don, listen, man, hey, I thank you again for taking the time to interview with me.
Appreciate you for having me.
Of course, man. Before we go ahead and head off, do you have any final words for anybody watching this interview?
No, I don't.
I got you, man. Hey, well, Don, hey, thanks again. To anybody watching this video, thank you guys so much for watching. Let us know your thoughts and opinions about everything that we talked about down in the comments section below. I will go ahead and link Don's Twitter, Instagram, all the social medias that he has down in the pinned comment in the comment section below as well. So go give Don a follow, keep track of him and his time with the Bucs, and continue to watch his career progress. Don, again, hey, thanks again for being on, man. I greatly appreciate it.
Appreciate you.
Of course. Well, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Hope you all enjoyed. We will see you all in the next video or the next live stream. But until then, and as always, guys, goodbye for now, and go Bucs. See you guys soon.